بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. طلبة الأعزاء المقبلين على شهادة البكالوريا عبر شاشة وقناة باديس تيفي، نحاول أن نقدم لكم دروسا تساعدكم إن شاء الله على اجتياز هذا الامتحان في أحسن الظروف والتمييز إن شاء الله، وتكوين قاعدة علمية تناسبكم لجميع مختلف المواد. فيما يخصني فسوف أكون مضيفا لكم عبر هذه القناة إن شاء الله في دروس اللغة الإنجليزية. الكثير منكم يجد في تعلم اللغات مشكلة عويصة ولا يدري، والكثير ممكن يقول لي أستاذ أنا لا أعرف اللغة الإنجليزية أو لا أعرف اللغة الفرنسية أو لا أعرف اللغة الإنجليزية، ولكنني أجيبك بكل دقة وسلاسة. قل لي لا أجد طريقة أدرس بها اللغة الإنجليزية أو الفرنسية أو الإسبانية أو اللغة العربية على الإطلاق. فعبر دروسنا إن شاء الله اليوم سوف نتكلم عن كيفية التعامل مع ورقة الامتحان، وهذا هو درسنا الأول إن شاء الله في دروس تعريف اللغة الإنجليزية لطلبة السنة الثالثة الثانوي المقبلين على شهادة البكالوريا. So our lesson will be how to approach the back exam paper. The back exam paper is as all other back exam papers. It's very simple. It's not difficult. It's just giving you an insight, but using the language of English. Now, when you are given the back paper type, you have got two kinds of papers. You are going to be presented with two papers. Most of you would find difficulties to choose which one would be suitable for the exam. Now, if I ask you the question, which one you are going to use or choose, most of you would say that I will choose the one that is easy. And I would say no, it is not the one which is easy, but the one on which you have the much of information needed to that back paper type. For example, for the third year literary classes, you've got 4 units: civilizations, you've got ethics in business, you've got education, and finally feelings and emotions. For the scientific stream, you've got ethics in business, you've got advertising, you've got astronomy, and finally feelings and emotions. For the literary streams, for example, most of them would say, sir, I hate the first unit, which is the civilizations. Others would say, no, I would love to tackle the unit of education. In the stream of science, many of you hate or do not like to study the astronomy unit. Now, in your big paper type, you've got two parts. First part is reading. Now, as it mentions reading, you've got to read a text and try to understand the main ideas of this text and exploit them in some activities. Now, the reading phase in the back paper type is divided through the streams, but all over the streams it's 7 points. It means most of the points you have are divided between the reading phase and the writing phase. Now, during the reading phase, first there is a crucial point, which is the discourse and time of the text. Now, the discourse starts by the question: is the text narrative, descriptive, argumentative, expository, or prescriptive? Now, you've got to read the text, the whole text, for 2, 3, 4 times as needed to understand the text. Then try to find out which discourse goes with the text. Now, the first discourse is descriptive. Now, as the word says, descriptive from the verb to describe. It means that the text is describing, giving you details, information, and events about people, about places, about time, about anything. In the text you've got a lot of adjectives, a lot of adverbs, a lot of ideas, and nothing about the cause or the consequence. The text gives you information in the present tense. Now, the opposite of descriptive is narrative. Now, the narrative is the same text but written in the past, giving you information about things, people, places, time, events in the past. For example, in Unit 1, Civilizations, you have the type of narrative, because you are narrating events that happened long ago through different civilizations. Now the descriptive, for example, if you tackle the modern civilization as we have today, the technology and advanced civilization, we'll use the descriptive style. Then after we've got the argumentative. Now, the argumentative from the verb to give arguments. It means that the text holds a point of view, holds an idea, holds an opinion, and during this text you have to find those arguments given by the writer to discuss and to give an argument of his point of view. It means he's trying to give you, convince you about the meaning of his opinion. Now the argumentative is divided into giving the fact, the argument, then giving the different arguments, presenting that opinion, and finally going to a synthesis. Now, in the argumentative type, you would have an idea about the philosophy where you are going to study about a fact. You've got the thesis, the antithesis, and the synthesis. It means you give an argument that reinforces the idea, another argument which is giving against, it means for and against, and finally coming out with the synthesis. So when you find all these in a text, you put a cross near to argumentative. There's another form which is expository. Now, expository, from the verb to expose. Now, expository, as most of you would know, it is based on something scientific. It means you give a fact, you define it, you present it, you introduce it, then finally you go to the causes and consequences of the same fact. For example, in advertising, there's a problem, for example, concerning consumption. Some consumers are consuming things that are not appropriate to their safety, to their health. Now, you define, for example, the fact, then the causes, for example, toxicity of food. You give the cause of the toxicity, then the consequences of this toxicity, and finally you come out with a synthesis. You've got another example, for example, in obesity, in Unit 2, advertising for the third scientific stream. You've got obesity, you say first, what is obesity? The text would give you an idea about obesity, then the causes of obesity, for example, television and advertising, and the consequences which are resumed in a lot of disease, like, for example, the asthma, the problems of the load of the person, and a lot of other problems created by this phenomenon. And finally, you would come with a conclusion saying that people have got to go towards a diet which respects their health. Then the last one is prescriptive. Prescriptive. Now, prescriptive, from the verb to prescribe. Prescribe, it means to list step by step, stages, periods, time, etc. For example, I want to make you understand the notion of writing an essay. Now, in the prescriptive type, I will start by defining the process, then after giving it step by step. First, we do this, then we do that, next we do this, and this, finally, we come out with the conclusion. So when you are having a text like this, coming with phases, you would say that it is prescriptive. Now, this is concerning the discourse. In the back exam, it scored about half point, which is very important for you. Now, the type of the text, it differs from the source you've got at the end of the text. It depends on how first you read the text and you go to the source. Now, the source, it may be an article of a magazine, of a newspaper. It may be a document, for example, the human rights document. It may be a letter that is, for example, written to someone. It may be a recipe, for example, how to write a successful essay. For example, it may be a text extracted from a book, which is a book extract. It can be, for example, a story. It can be a poem. It can be many things. Now, these can be identified right directly from the source you find at the end of the text. So, when you are asked this type of question, for example, this text is a magazine, a website, an article, you read the text and you go to the source which is at the end of the text. This is concerning the type of the text.